Something weird. Madam Secretary, if you would.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Dylan,
Here.
Carolyn,
Here.
Harrison, of course, is here.
Here. Thanks.
Will,
Fantastic, we're live. Will is still coming back from the airport.
oh, thanks. Okay, no problem. One moment. Okay. Adele,
Here.
Quay,
Here.
Aziza,
Here.
Miriam, Habib,
Here.
Miriam, William is here, but so if a senator is resigning, do I still count them for today?
You can just leave it blank.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Mira,
Here.
Afnan,
He might be coming a little bit late, I think.
thank you. Okay, Naveen,
Here.
Robert,
Here.
Sakita,
Here.
Sweta,
Here.
Tanvi,
Here.
Tonanzit, Tonanzit. Okay. Zara,
Here.
Brianna, Camila,
Here.
okay, Ricky,
I'm here. My bad.
no problem. Sarah, Sarah, okay.
You requested to be absent, my bad.
No problem. Thank you. All right, all done.
Thank you so much. So next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. So if there's no objection, we will be approving the minutes from our last meeting, that is on October 19th, 2020. Okay, hearing no objection, the minutes from last meeting have been approved. Moving forward to executive board reports. So starting with the events in Nigeria and trying to support Black lives. If our president could speak a bit on that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So I'm guessing, you're all aware, right? Because of social media, maybe you aren't, but there've been ongoing issues in Nigeria, especially, right? People are spreading awareness about other countries in Africa right now that are struggling through concurrent injustices, right? In Nigeria, 78 peaceful protesters were shot and killed by government forces. So there's a lot of information, details to this. I suggest that you do look more into this on your own. It's important. But we're just trying to make sure that we stand for all of our students. So I've been working with OAS and BOSS leaders and coordinating some messaging, and we'll be getting an email out to the student body soon, just making sure that it's broad enough so it's applicable for all students, because that's the prerequisite for getting something out to everyone. So we're doing that, and honestly, any way that we can stand with all students. Love for Senate involvement, and we'll just be going from there. It's just kind of like a rolling thing as we go. But we're just, maintaining relations and going forward with collaboration. We want to make sure that we are, promote that, encourage it by, when we talk to these different people, different communities, like we want to represent you, not just speak for you, right? So we want to kind of emphasize that idea.
Thank you, President. So we're working on a message that will hopefully be spread to student body, and just trying to continue our collaboration and trying to uphold these voices. Once again, the SGA Google Drive is available. I've been trying to organize that a little bit, so we have all of the magnificent work of our current president as chief of staff from last year that has been added to that archive. So there's a historic record now. I found some stuff from even 2014. I didn't know it went that far back. But we're just finding lovely new things. Feel free to explore the Google Drive when you have the chance, or if you ever feel so inclined. We'll also be moving like all legislation and whatnot into there as well when we are passing that as a legislative body moving forwards. Talking about the Judicial Council interpretation. So there are two things that, this is my mistake, I missed in the charter and bylaws. The first one being that a duly constituted meeting is supposed to have 4 of the arbitrators, which was not a requirement that we were aware. And then the second is that any vacancies will be filled by the speakers of the Senate. Now, obviously, given how elections are proceeding and the fact that they're currently ongoing, please make sure you vote. Our media centers have made great graphics and links to do so. We're hoping for more votes. Let's just leave it at that. But the Judicial Council, as it stands, will just be continuing business. But that just goes to point to the importance of reading the charter and bylaws, and continuing to try and make sure we're following rules and procedure. I believe we have a nomination, so luckily we don't have to put anything more onto our speaker. But we'll get to that in a bit. Moving on to the Chancellor's meeting status. So since our Chief of Finance isn't here, if the rest of the e-board is all right, I'll just fill in and talk about some of the numbers before we jump into the rest of it. All right, so let me just pull up my notes from the meeting. We met with the Chancellor's office, so it's not just Chancellor Cantor. She has an entire team who work and support all the various aspects of business and communication and student services that go on at our university. So we talked a little bit about the aid that was being given out to students. So we talked a little bit about the aid that's being given out to students. So there is the federal CARES Act funding, as I'm sure you've been made aware of. And there's a Rutgers, let me back up a bit. The way that the CARES Act was distributed is it's federal legislation being given out to each institution to support. And there was an application for Rutgers University. Right now, that application is closed because there's a lot of pending applications from students, and they want to make sure that every single student who applied got the opportunity to receive the funds that they needed. So let me just pull up the numbers. I think we talked about briefly in our Senate caucus as well. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull up the Senate caucus notes. I'm so terribly sorry for the delay. But a large amount of federal CARES Act funding was given out. They're still waiting to see if there's going to be any more funding, obviously, given the current climate. and how that might be distributed. Okay, so $304,000 is remaining for CARES Act funding. Already 24,000 students across all 3 undergraduate campuses, that is New Brunswick, Newark, and Camden, or 44% of those who applied have received funding from the CARES Act. So that's where it is at right now. As for our SGA Emergency Relief Fund, we originally allocated $149,427 to it. That's including the $50,000 contribution from the executive board, all the contribution from individual Senate pairs, as well as contributions from student organizations. And right now, so from the Emergency Relief Fund, during the spring, summer combined semesters, we gave out $94,985 in 114 awards. So that's 114 students who received either $500 or $1,000 grants. As you can tell by the number, most of them received around $1,000. And the remaining balance from after spring, summer was $54,442. I'll be putting all these in the chat. I know it's a lot of numbers very early in the morning. For fall 2020, we started with that amount, around $50,000 in our account. And right now, the most recent numbers we have, we've given out about $10,000 of that, exactly $9,500 to 12 students. So there's $44,942 in there right now. Thank you for that update. I'm not seeing the waiting room. Oh, that's because right now Okwe is the host. So Okwe, our media center, if you would mind letting people in, that'd be fantastic. Right now, we have 44942 in SGA General Fund. And we have given out cumulatively 126 awards. Fantastic. Thank you again for everyone who is joining, for your support and showing up to the SGA meeting. We're just going over the amount of aid our institution has given out. So if I can share screen briefly. So this is one of the slideshows that we have. These are the dollar amounts that I was talking about, and this is for our SGA Emergency Relief Fund. We, as a Student Governing Association, help make this possible. So as you can see, the majority of the awards went to staff and students, given the size of the student body. But if you consider like the per capita or compared to the student population, overall, it seems like the School of Criminal Justice, School of Public Affairs and Administration needs a lot more aid overall. So it's something for the academic senators and the rest of the association to consider. I understand we normally don't do many questions, but are there any questions? Because this is a very important topic. Feel free to play in the chat as well. There may be a slight delay. So I ask that you unmute and ask your question if possible. All right, hearing none, I'm going to stop screen sharing. But overall, in our SGA Emergency Relief Fund, we have enough for about 45 to 50 students, compared to like the 112 students who received awards for spring and summer. So it's just something to keep in mind. Moving forwards, For further meeting collaborations, we have a meeting scheduled with Vice Chancellor Gunkel about Proctor Track and university switching to Respondus. I need to touch base with a couple other committees to hear their plans and schedule meetings with other members from the Chancellor's office. Would the rest of the e-board like to speak a little bit more about the Chancellor's meeting?
Permission to speak. Floor, please. Okay, yeah. All right. So the meeting was great. It was very like rushed, because we wanted to have it soon because we've been pushing it off, right? And then with the dynamic of having the president meeting, right? So we had the meeting quickly. We were fortunate that most of our team was available. It was good timing. And we just kind of had an informal discussion about all these different topics. And the real meat of it's just how we're going to follow up with them. So we'll be working on that soon, and then hopefully looping you all in depending on what the specific topic is, right? Just because it's going to be more effective to follow up with their individual staff members than trying to get another meeting with everyone at once, because that's not going to get anything done. So we got the relationship, we talked about the topics, and now it's on us to follow up and see what we can do, right?
Thank you, President. I do want to add the Speaker of the Senate is present at the Chancellor meetings. I don't know if this was done in the past, but we're trying to continue collaborating so we can advance our goals as an association. Once again, to clarify, the general fund versus the emergency relief fund, the general fund is the budget category of the association. Right now, we have about $100,000 in that. It hasn't been put towards anything, and that is the account that we normally move the most money out of. The emergency relief fund is a separate account that's managed by the CARE team that we can move money into to allow them to give out grants to students. Are there any questions or any additional clarification needed between those two? All right, fantastic. Moving on, are there any reports from the Internal Affairs Committee?
Permission to be recognized.
Of course.
Thank you. So currently the Internal Affairs Committee has had their first case, I guess, brought to them. So we're currently working on that. Things are looking very good as of right now. We're working very closely with the Judicial Council. So we're trying to as of the moment, we're just trying to form connections with the Judicial Council. And then we do have a couple of members that have joined. However, it is still open to any of you senators if you'd like to join. So just please contact me if you want to join us at the Internal Affairs Committee. Thank you, Harrison.
Of course, thank you, Speaker. Moving along, are there any reports from the Elections Committee?
Permission to speak, Chairman?
Of course.
Thank you. Can you hear me well? I'm driving, so that's why I just want to make sure before I begin.
I hear a little background noise, but you're coming through.
Okay. I'm so sorry, everyone. But yeah, so updates from the Elections Committee. As you may know, elections began on Thursday at 8 a.m. The student body email was sent around 10 a.m. So we got a pretty good, decent jump of voter turnout so far. Within the first 4 hours, we got more voters than last year's elections. So pretty good start. It has slowed down a little bit. Actually, not a little bit, significantly since. We are planning to make another series of posts on social media, as well as contacting student organizations directly to try to get their members to participate in the elections. So I also would wish you all, as senators and representatives of your respective constituencies, to also share on your social media the approved flyers that we have for getting out the vote, and we hope to, exceed these numbers and expectations given the fact that we have so many people participating in these elections, we also hope that we have good turnout as well. I'm trying to see what else we may have, but other than the fact that the elections will conclude this Thursday at 11:59 p.m., and hopefully we have some announcement on Friday. And that is my report. I yield my time back to Chairman.
Thank you, University Senator. That's really good to hear. The link is in the email. Please make sure all you senators, at the very least, vote and participate in this very important endeavor of the association. Moving forward, are there any reports from our newly formed ad hoc media committee?
Request to speak.
Recognized.
Okay, so Akwe Borte, media senator. Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to speak on a couple of things that the media committee met on Friday, and we were graced with the president himself, our chief of staff, Harrison, and we basically spoke about the things we wanted to work on for academic year and the semester specifically. So of the main things that we started talking about the plans for creating the website, and we started looking at the best means to create the website. We started looking at prizes and how the long-term goal of the website and how we could manage that. We also had discussions on, this was a plan initially, this was an idea initially brought up by our president, Dylan. So he wanted, in the previous academic year, I was having a personal discussion with him, not relating to the SGA, and he was suggesting that we had a meeting with student leaders, and I felt like it was a great idea. So the media committee actually had a discussion on that and thought that given that we want to improve engagement and communication with student leaders and promote engagement with the student body, we decided to possibly have that event come up, like having a conversation with student leaders. And we're also extending the invitation to all senators and members of the SGA. So if you're interested in having this event, we would love to have you in the conversation. And yes, also we discussed having to promote candidates for the upcoming elections. We realized that it would be a great opportunity for candidates to be publicized through the media committee, and so that everyone have equal grounds. We plan to work with the elections committee in the upcoming elections, possibly after making sure that the media committee is an established standing committee, basically. Also, we spoke about having awards, like having designated awards for student organizations and students that are being extremely active during this pandemic. So we are aware that award ceremonies had at the end of every academic year, and we know that, but we wanted to have possibly have one special one for organizations that are being extremely active in this circumstances, because we all didn't expect this. And yet, even though we're not awarding SYS points, organizations are still doing their best to promote engagement and be active in the Rutgers Newark community. So we were hoping that we had a discussion with Dean Akita some time ago, and we're hoping to continue that conversation and hopefully have an award presented to the organizations and members of the Rutgers Newark community that are active, basically. So I yield my time.
Thank you, Media Committee Chair. Are there any other reports from any other committees? All right, I know a couple are going to be hopefully formed today, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. From the Senate, could we have the Criminal Justice University Senator report on their committees or the University Senate meeting from the previous week?
permission to speak?
Of course, glad to have you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Brianna Santiago, University Senator for the School of Criminal Justice. Right now, the only committees that I am on are the Student Affairs Committee. I'm also working on the Transfer Student Committee. Not much has really been thought out so far, so I don't have much to report. But I'm hoping to get more information for you guys and update you soon.
Thank you very much, University Senator. So moving on to old business. So the president has modified his proposal for resolution R1. The link is within the agenda as well as in the chat at the moment. So that's a link to the resolution proposal, and that is what is before the floor right now and open for discussion. Do I hear any discussion from the floor? Once again, is there any discussion from the floor in favor or against this resolution?
I just had a point of information about thing. So I see on the document that it says like 25% is proposed, but let's say we were thinking about proposing more. I just wasn't sure like what else would the general fund be used for during this time, because like let's say I wanted to do up it to like 50%, but then like that would hamper on like any initiatives that we wanted to do. Just like wanted to know like what else are we doing other than the I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm not sure if I'm equipped to answer this because ultimately it is up to the senators as a legislative body to debate and vote on any initiatives that you have interest in. I mean, some of the ideas that the chief of finance put forward were, for example, parking subsidies or additional support to the food pantry. I mean, we can also use the funds to improve our student leaders by purchasing training materials. I mean, the possibilities really are endless as long as it's supporting all the students equitably. And it's not going to organizations like outside of Rutgers, if that makes sense.
Request to speak.
Of course, recognized.
During the past Senate caucus meeting, we actually had a discussion on the resolution, and we're hoping to increase the funds that we're going to allocate by 15%, making that 30. No, actually, increasing by 10%, making that 35%. So, yeah, I just wanted to put that out.
To clarify, Senator, do I hear a movement to strike out 25% and replace it with 35% and strike out the equivalent dollar amount and replace it with such?
Okay, I move to strike out the 25% and change it to 35% for the funds. The resolution, sorry.
And would the senator or another member of the caucus clarify the exact dollar amount for the resolution as well?
Request to speak.
Of course.
We weren't actually sure of the exact amount that will amount to, but we're thinking that it would be better to have a higher amount. We didn't think that 25% would be relatively substantial, given that we're having funds from all organizations and they have less. So.
Of course, thank you, Senator. I know our president is doing some of the math. Real shame that our chief of finance isn't here. But what I got was $33,809. Okay, and 2 cents, of course. All right, so the motion before the floor to strike out. It has been motion to strike out 25% for 5%, and we strike out the dollar amounts for so that is the motion from Media Senator Aquay. Do I hear a second to this amendment?
I second.
Okay, it has been motioned by Media Senator and seconded by our speaker, and is now before the floor for discussion. Discussion, of course, please limit it to the nature of the actual amendments itself before we put it to a majority vote. It will be a majority vote on the amendment before a 2/3 vote on the resolution, to clarify. Yep, thank you, President. Do I hear any discussion from the floor on the amendments? Once again, do I hear any discussion from the floor on the amendments?
Permission to speak.
Of course, recognized.
I personally don't want to do less than 35% for the relief fund. If anybody has any agreements, disagreements, but I think 35% is a good start, considering someone mentioned before, I forgot who, that we're not going to be on campus in the winter either, and possibly the spring. So these students are going to still struggle because there's a whole other wave of like COVID coming. So 35% is a good start. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking in favor, Senator. To clarify, like either in the beginning of speaking, please state whether you're speaking for or against the motion on the floor. Right now, that is the amendment to replace it to 35%. I do also want to clarify that our funds, we can always allocate more, and our funds also expire at the end of every semester and are shifted into allocations. So keep in mind that we all just had midterms, we're halfway through the semester.
Permission to speak, Chairman?
Of course, recognize, Senator.
Thanks. Speaking for the wait, this is the amendment, right? To strike it to 35. Yeah, I'm speaking for it. I think I agree with Senator. Yeah, I agree with the Senator. What was I going to say? My bad. I just blanked out. Oh, sorry about that. So yeah, so I think that 35 is a reasonable amount to to start with. And as the chief of staff mentioned, we can always add more funds as we get closer to the end of the semester. I think this gives us a good amount of room for us senators to, like, you know, if we come up any initiatives or any other ideas that we may have that we think that we can focus on and ensuring relief to the student body. I think that, you know, the remaining 65% can give us a good amount of money to work with. And then if we do not succeed in coming up with any other initiatives, we can always just donate the remaining funds. So at least we have some money to start with to do something. And I think also hopefully with the formation of a student affairs committee in the future, if there is any, then we can also start asking the student organizations for their money, like we did last semester. So yeah, so there's definitely some money around. We just have to, like, kind of target them and make sure we reach out to them before the end of the semester, or else, you know, they go to allocations and then we have no way of using that money next semester. So yeah, so I'm speaking for it. We should definitely pass this and pass the resolution as well. So I yield my time back to the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, University Senator. So is there anyone, out of the sake for seeking balance on this issue, is there anyone who would like to speak against this amendment? Once again, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this amendment to 35%? Hearing no further discussion, we will now be moving to a majority vote on the amendment, not the resolution itself. The amendment to 35% and $33,809.02. All those in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Fantastic. And all those opposed, say nay. Very well. The ayes have it, and it is now 35% and $33,809.02. The amendment carries. The motion before the floor is now the amended resolution to continue the SGA emergency fund. Is there any discussion from the floor? Of course, the motion before the floor is the amended resolution, R1, the proposal to continue the SGA emergency fund. Is there any discussion about the amended resolution? Once again, is there any discussion from the floor on the proposal to move 35% of funds from the general account to the SGA Emergency Relief Fund? Okay, hearing no discussion, we will now be moving to a 2/3 vote on the resolution. If our secretary would be able to count the votes.
Of course. All right. So Tonanzit,
Yes.
Tanvi,
Yes.
Adele,
No.
Miriam, Habib,
Yes.
Zara,
Yes.
Aziza,
Yes.
Afnan, if he's here. Okay. Akwe,
Yes.
Saket,
Yes.
Robert,
Yes.
Greta,
Yes.
Naveen,
Yes.
Mira,
Yes.
Brianna,
Yes.
Camila,
Yes.
Ricky.
Yes.
All right. Yep. So we have over the 2/3 majority vote.
Thank you, Secretary. Let me just get the exact numbers. So with 1, 2, 3. Thank you. With 14 votes in favor and 1 vote against, we do have a 2/3 majority, and the resolution R1 proposed by our president does pass. So hopefully when our Chief of Finance gets back, we will be moving those funds to the SGA Emergency Relief Fund, and around 30 more students hopefully will be able to receive those grants. Congratulations to the association for passing the first piece of legislation for this semester. All right. Yeah. So moving on for other old business, the president would like to nominate someone as associate arbitrator if he'd like to speak.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, I had 2 other people who were maybe interested that I was like seeking out, like just talking like informally before last week's meeting. But I also considered Jeremy. I talked to him. He just seemed more, even though he's not like a pre-law student. I mean, he is kind of interested in law. Maybe he will go back to law. He's saying, but even though like he's not like necessarily law track, I mean, we got like some law people, in judicial council already. So it's not like necessary, right? I mean, he seemed more committed, right? So I was talking to him and I told him like, all right, before we go on, like read through the bylaws, right? Read the judicial council sections, skim through everything else, see everything works, and get back to me at the end of the week, right? So then we talked, and he's all good with it. And I answered any questions he had about like procedures, like what his job would entail, and he still wanted to do it after reading through everything. And so I decided, we'll get judicial council going, and I'm really excited. So I'm nominating Jeremy. I believe you all have like his resume, and we're discussing him last week.
Mm-hmm. So is there any discussion from the floor? Once again, is there any discussion from the floor in favor or against the president's nomination of Jeremy as associate arbitrator? Is there any discussion from the floor?
Permission to speak, Mr. Chairman?
Of course, recognized.
Thank you. I think Jeremy is a very fantastic candidate. I'm very glad that our president and they talked out, and I think like the president said, even though he isn't necessarily on like the pre-law or like political science field, it still does not make him any less viable as a candidate for the Judicial Council. It's still a part of the student government, and the Judicial Council should be as diverse as the different schools of Rutgers Newark. So I'm very excited, and I really do hope he gets the position. I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any further discussion from the floor for or against the nomination of Jeremy as associate arbitrator? Okay, hearing no discussion, we will now be moving to a 2/3 vote on Jeremy as associate arbitrator for Judicial Council. Madam Secretary?
Yep. Okay. Tonanzit?
Yes.
Tanvi?
Yes.
Adele?
Yes.
Miriam?
Yes.
Zara?
Yes.
Aziza?
Yes.
Afnan? Oh, sorry, not here. Akwe?
Yes.
Saket?
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
Swetha?
Yes.
Naveen?
Yes.
Mira?
Yes.
Brianna?
Yes.
Camila?
Yes.
Ricky?
Yes.
Awesome. So everyone voted yes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. With 15 votes yes or in favor and no votes against, we do have a 2/3 majority. And congratulations to Jeremy, who is now the final associate arbitrator. And we have a full Judicial Council. So hopefully Dean Williams can update and onboard him, and Jeremy and Angie will be serving on the Judicial Council along with all the others. Congratulations. Moving now to new business, we have we have an absence. So if there is no objection, we will approve the absence of Sasson University Senator Shobit. Okay, hearing no objection, Senator Shobit's absence has been approved. Now before the floor is the nomination of the President Advisory Board. So I understand like the Senate had some time to discuss this in caucus. There was a spreadsheet that was emailed out previously to help senators organize and whip votes. I'll be opening that up shortly, just so I can reference that. Of course, the executive board and any of the people who are being nominated do not have access to this. But would the president like to talk a little bit more about what this position entails and its responsibilities?
Sure, thank you. So this is something that did not exist with Barchi. Like, yeah, I think Barchi had like an open forum once, like at our campus, I think like 2 or 3 years ago. And that was like, that didn't go well. And then Barchi just didn't want to like be involved with students, you know, after that. But like, you know, while Holloway is like, you know, just like any administrator is like afraid of getting or nervous of getting like bashed by students, right? You know, like, but he wants to hear students and understand like what actually goes on, not through like, you know, people in his office telling him, but he wants to hear from students. So this is one of the ways that he wants to set up like a regular thing, make a precedent that he will have like a student advisory committee just to go over issues. So the duties would be meeting once a month, and whenever as needed. Basically, that's just what he said. You know, if anything comes up and it's like, all right, we need to talk about something, I need to hear you guys. And then we'll have a meeting. But it's more or less just like monthly, right? I think it's a really good opportunity, and I'm really happy that it's like equal representation from all 3 campuses. So, you know, like Newark and Camden, we're not getting forgotten. So like that's the best thing here.
Thank you, President. Yeah, I will add this is completely unprecedented. I have not heard of Rutgers ever doing this before, let alone any other academic university or institution. So this is a very important position. And, you know, keep that in mind as you are voting on the candidates who submitted their statement. So hopefully you have the chance to review them and discuss. I will be proceeding according like one by one, and it will be a 2/3 vote. I ask that you do not vote in favor of more than one candidate, just to keep things efficient and to reach that 2/3 majority. Keep in mind that, you know, we're all students here. We're all, well, most of us here are senators, but we're all here to serve the student body, right? So please don't take these votes personally. This is just an administrative mode. No, there will not be ranked choice voting, unfortunately. We're just going to have to do this a little bit more old-fashioned. So I'll be going based off the nominees who submit statements. And if they do not pass, then we'll take nominations from the floor. So starting off, I have a nomination from Senator Mira Desai to President Holloway's advisory board. And we will now move to the 2/3 vote. Madam Secretary, if you would.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Once again, please make sure that you do not vote in favor of more than one candidate. Thank you.
Okay. So Nanzit?
Yes.
Tanvi?
Abstain.
Adele?
Yes.
Miriam?
Yes.
Zara?
Yes.
Aziza?
Yes.
Akwe,
Yes.
Socket,
Yeah.
Robert,
Yes.
Sweta,
Yeah.
Naveen,
I have a question. Who's the other candidate that we're voting on? Because I don't know if we
So the 3 statements were emailed out. Unfortunately, we are in the middle of voting, but it would be Mira, Camilla, and Tanvi. If you would please vote in favor or against. Mira decide at the moment. Okay.
okay, and the Senator Mira can't vote for this one, right?
So we cannot deprive her of her vote, but it is traditional for people who are involved in the matter to abstain.
Okay, so Mira,
Abstain.
okay, Brianna,
Yes.
Camila, Camila, do you want to abstain?
Since she's not responding, treat it as an abstention for now.
Okay, Ricky,
Yes.
okay, so
1, 2, 3, 4.
11.
Yeah, I think that's what I got. 11, yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. So with 11, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 abstentions and 1 vote against. We do indeed have a 2/3 majority. Congratulations to Student Affairs Senator Mira Desai, who will be appointed to the President Advisory Board. Congratulations. Please do keep the executive board as well as the rest of the Senate informed about that. Thank you very much. Moving forward, we now have committees. So to clarify, all you have to do is say, I move to form blank committee for blank with blank as chair, and so as members. There are ad hoc, which are temporary committees formed by a motion like this. And then if you would like to make your committee permanent, you may draft a resolution to do so. So please contact me if you would choose to do that. At the moment, we have the Internal Affairs, which is a standing permanent committee, Elections, which is an ad hoc committee that's renewed every year, Sexual Assault Prevention and Media Committee, both ad hoc committees, and I would love to hear a discussion from the floor. Congratulations once again, Mira.
Thank you.
Do I hear any motion from the floor to form a committee?
Mr. Chairman, may I please get permission to speak?
Recognized, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, let me just do the form with language. I move to form diversity committee with Senator Zahra Hussain as chair and Senator Aziza Malik as secretary. And the members that we have are Tanvi Patel and Senator Tonanzi. May this committee please get approved.
Thank you. So the motion before the floor, it has been motioned to form the diversity committee with Senator Zahra as chair. I'm so terribly sorry for that typo. Let's try and get it down. With Senator Zahra as chair, Aziza Malik as secretary, and Senator Tanvi Patel and Tonan Zit as members. Do I hear a second?
Mr. Chairman, may I please speak?
Of course. Before you speak on the motion, I would like to hear a second from the floor so we can begin discussing it.
Second
that motion.
Okay, it's been seconded by Speaker Patel. You do have the floor to speak first, Senator Hussain.
Thank you so much. Yes, so a little debriefer on the diversity committee. So the essence of the diversity committee is that as diversity of our senators, we really have to represent all the different identity groups within the beautiful campus. And the goal of the diversity committee is just going to be just like making sure we have events, making sure we have forums or media campaigns where we give acknowledgement to the different kind of identity groups that we have, religious, cultural, orientation-wise, sexual orientation-wise, and that's just going to be the goal of the community. And hopefully, as we progress, we're going to do collaborations with other communities to make events and awareness into fruition. So that's just like a little debriefer on the diversity committee.
Thank you, Senator. Is there any discussion for or against the formation of this committee? Once again, is there any discussion for or against the formation of this committee? Okay, hearing none, we will now move to a majority vote by voice. So all those in favor for forming the diversity committee with Senator Zahra as chair, Aziza Malik as secretary, Tanvi Patel and Tonanzi as members, say aye.
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 Fantastic. And, thank you, Senator Castaneda. And all those against say nay. Very well, it's unanimous. The ayes have it, and the diversity committee is formed. I look forward to working with all of you, and I understand Ms. Barfield from the Chancellor's office, as well as one of the vice chancellors. Their name isn't coming to my head at the moment, but they're very excited to work with us to continue to support students, especially within the times that we have at the moment, and with injustices being brought to light. So thank you. Do I hear any other motions from the floor? Do I hear a motion to form any other committees from the floor? Okay, hearing none, we will now be moving to the hearing of the SGA. Is there any general discussion from the floor? Are any of the senators working on anything exciting that they would like to share? Any activism, any initiatives?
Permission to speak.
Recognized.
Hi, everyone. This is Saki Chadalvada, one of your RBS senators. Just wanted to remind all the senators that we are, Rob Jones and I are creating a group chat to speak about like ideas for creating a prayer space at RBS. I'm not sure how many RBS students we have here, but like we are representing all the students of the school. So I think it would just be a great initiative to have, especially because prayer space that students at RBS have to use is honestly like a 10 to 15 minute walk away, depending on how windy it is. Oh yeah, thanks for adding everyone, Rob. How windy it is, and like if it's raining and snowing outside. So I think this prayer space at RBS, if we are able to accomplish it, would be great for bunch of different students. So please, if you are interested, do message me and Robert. We'll add you to the group chat that we just created. I yield my time.
Thank you. For everyone who's in the group chat, we'll be discussing a little bit more and potentially setting up a meeting with Dean Lay and the assistant dean for the School of Business to begin the discussions about these capital investments. Some very exciting stuff. Thank you, Senator. Is there any other discussion from the floor? Any other discussion from the floor?
Permission to speak.
Recognized.
So me and Tanzi have been working on, along with Tanvi as well. We've been working on trying to find free parking for students, or just make it easy for students who have to come to campus during these times. And now most likely spring semester is also going to be online. We want to try to just make it easy for students to find parking around campus. Like, say if they can't pay, they should be able to find a place where they can park for free for a day. I know I went to I got some information from NJIT. Their daily parking is at least $4 less than ours. So that's something I want to start with. I want to maybe lower that price and then go on from there. But I think it's an issue that can be resolved, and kind of just, it should be something easy for students now. So me, Tanzi, and Tanvi, we're going to be working on that. We're going to work on it more this week. But yeah, it's something we're working on.
Thank you for the update, Senator. I will add, as you're working, please reach out to myself, the speaker, and we can definitely help set up meetings with relevant administrators to help support your work. So thank you all for doing your best to support students while everything else is going on. Is there any further discussion from the floor? Okay, hearing none, we will now move to hearing of the public. Would any members of the public like to speak?
Yes, hi.
Hello again. Thank you so much for coming.
Of course, my favorite part, best way to start my week, coming to the SGA meeting. Hi guys, if we haven't met yet, I'm Caitlin. I'm the campus organizer for Rutgers Newark for NJ Perg, and just really quickly, just wanted to bring up that, we're 8 days from the election, even though I don't even like to say that. We're in the election now. The election's already happening. There's no start date. Really, it ends on the 3rd. Or the 2nd, if we're being real. So I think that what we've been doing with NJ Perg is we're working on getting out that vote, and we've been phone banking. We kicked off last Saturday. We had a phone-a-thon from 12 to 5, Halloween themed. We all wore costumes and called people and helped them make vote plans to figure out how they're going to cast their ballot. And we're doing it this week as well. So I just wanted to bring it up and also drop in the chat an RSV, a sign-up form if people were interested in coming. And this will be, I think, a really great event for all of you to join. And I'm happy to answer any questions if there's any about the event. And it's from they're going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Their phone banks. So great.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Hopefully our media centers, our media team, and our now newly formed media committee can help with promoting that. This is really incredible work, especially, phone banking, not just in NJ, but I know a lot of other organizations are phone banking in swing states, since we know the election comes down to that. So yeah, thank you so much for all of your and NJ Perg's hard work. Are there any other members of the public who would like to speak? All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank
I
you.
second that motion.
Seconded. All right. Thank you guys so much. We actually, ended a meeting 1 minute early, so that's new. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work. Please keep reviewing the agendas. Please keep writing legislation. Please keep working with committees. And please keep taking care of yourselves. Great job today. Congratulations to our new associate arbitrator, our new president advisory board member. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Stay safe. Wear a mask.
Bye. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Thank you all so much.